Howdy folks. Alright, I just realised before I actually get started into this, I've got to test a phone, unfortunately, because I've got an iPhone 6S that is draining its battery, and it's the second battery now. So I'm starting to feel like this has actually got the dreaded Wi-Fi module failure on it. So I'll just pop it open and have a look. It's very annoying when you get these older phones and you're trying to help extend their lives, put new batteries in, all that sort of stuff, which is, it's not a problem. But when you encounter these sort of faults, there's basically nothing you can do about this one because it is an iPhone 6S. So I can't realistically unbind the Wi-Fi chip and put a new one on there. Whereas with the 6 you could. You just, pop the Wi-Fi module off, put a new one on, and away you go. But to be fair, the 6 didn't suffer that problem, so and these days the 6 probably is a little bit too long in the tooth. I'd say your 6S is around about where it's finishing for now. Hey there, Gear, and for the birds, Jim. Anyway, so to test this, what we're going to do is we're basically going to take the logic board out and then see what it's doing under the gym cam, of all things. I suppose I better turn it off. But yeah, it was at 100% and it's dropped 3% in the last half hour. So that tells me that there's a drain in here. Because realistically, you should hold the percentage point for at least an hour, typically. Hey, V-Blood. Hey, Pedro. Because the fun thing is when you accidentally crack their display too. Personally, I don't normally buy this brand of battery. Unfortunately, the higher spec ones were just not available for the 6S. I think it's a case of people just don't bother anymore. It's like, we're not going to make the high-end spec batteries for the 6S anymore. Or maybe they're just all the same anyway. So we're taking the screen out because basically we have to take the, well, we'll have a look. We'll see if it shows up. Hey Raj. Hey JCT. Let's see. I mean, the battery is a year old, but that's not really a problem. Some people might say maybe it just needs some conditioning, as in you have to go through a few cycles. Maybe, but the previous battery seemed okay as well when I sent it out, and then the customer said after a couple of cycles it just wouldn't even hold very well. So I don't know. So this is the previous one. It's also a year old. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's fire this thing up. Switch off the overheads. So that's normal, that's just the CPU. Oh, sorry folks, here we go. That's normal, that's the CPU. But what we're going to be looking for is, I probably should just take it out, but I'm feeling lazy and kind of hoping I can spot it. Oh, that's frozen. Oh, great. Sadly, the battery in the FLIR one is now at the point where it also dies very quickly. Hey Joey, Neo, hey Danny Brooks, Sokoloft. Yeah, so we get this thing to boot back up again. You ready? Okay. Okay. Let's see, that's it hunting around for, yeah, that's just it hunting for 3G at the moment, or 4G, or looking for something. Kind of wanting it to settle down. Let's see if we can just power it off. I bet you I'm going to have to take the damn board out. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take the board out. I'm not going to get a conclusive answer here. Hi, creature. Yep. Board has to come out and then we'll examine what that Wi-Fi module is doing. I think the perception that the base fan's getting as hot as the CPU is actually a relative thing, because the software I wrote does not actually present in absolute voltage, in absolute temperature. It's all relative temperature. So it just sort of has a moving window of sort of like 0 to 256. Whichever, the bracketing just keeps moving to fit the most data in. So it doesn't actually have an absolute temperature on it. Success isn't the worst phone to open up, but it is a little bit annoying. A lot of fiddly screws up here. And then some annoying ones here. Sure. So I think that should be everything. I realize there's a coax down here. Okay. Alright, so the point of concern is that chip there. I'm actually going to plug this battery in. Let's see, probably need a 3, let's see, I need a 6S FPC. You're 6. You're a 6S. Yeah. Now the reason why we want to plug this in is it allows us to turn on the unit very easily. Because all we have to do is plug in some power to charge and it'll come up. In theory. Probably should move this so I don't lose the screws. If I did lose the screws, fortunately I have a couple of other iPhone 6S's I can always draw parts from or such. Orange stamps, Greg, Mr. Bodger. Wow, there's a big jump I just missed there. Yeah, I'll suckle off. It's a custom jobby. I actually need this flipped over. And let's see, schematics. Okay, that should be all we need. And now we just watch it do its thing. Actually, it's I just realized I counted them tonight. It's 12 panels to go. Yeah. Is it from Aussie Fencing? No, it's a local mob that I get to do it. A chap called Braveheart Fencing. Hey Keith McDermott, welcome along. Yeah, we just basically have to wait for this to die down a little bit and then we can see what's going on in there. I mean, this could all be for naught. It could be that there is actually nothing wrong, or maybe it's a bad dock flex or something, I don't know. What's not helping here is that the person won't give me their passcode. And I mean, yeah, I respect that, but at the same time it does make the job more complicated. So what theoretically should happen if it is the Wi-Fi module is we'll start getting a build up here, but like I said, I'm not seeing it. It should have started up by now, surely. I mean, it charges to 100% and it, you know, it looks fine. This doesn't look like it's a Wi-Fi module fault. I mean, obviously it's going to be upset that it doesn't have a display, but that shouldn't stop it. So if it's not the Wi-Fi module, what is it? Hilarious. Yeah, that really does not look like Wi-Fi. Hey, Antonio. Typically by now you would be starting to get, you know, this hotspot cross shifting up to around about here somewhere. But it's not happening. So where is all this extra power going? Yeah, well, I'll have to dig into it tomorrow. I'm going to push my brain any further tonight on this one. Yeah, there's definitely no warmth at all coming up there. Yeah, I do tend to agree with you about fixing phones without passcodes should incur incur greater cost. I suppose where the problem here is that it came in for a, you know, battery swap, and that actually turned into a disaster in its own way because the battery, I don't know what they bonded it down with. It looked like Tessa tape, but it was completely unyielding, and it ended up tearing the flex that sits in the iPhone 6s. And if any of you have done iPhone 6s flex replacements, you'll know that the one that controls the volume and the basically everything, this one up here, it's a pain in the ass when it has to be replaced. Anyway, so yeah, that had to be done. And because it was me disassembling it, I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to wear that cost, even though it was something crazy going on with the, you know, the previous bonding. It didn't have pull strips or anything like that. JCT, no, I don't need to remove the shields on it to see if it's not glowing up now, then it's not the Wi-Fi fault. It's going to be something else. So it could actually be the replacement flex I put in. So as you can see, this iPhone 6s for a $50 battery replacement is turning into a nightmare. Major pain in the backside. Major pain in the backside. And you just hate it when you get jobs like this because, you know, you're just sort of thinking, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do a quick 50. Yeah, I'm not making much profit on that, but, you know, it'll get someone their phone for a little bit longer, and then it just turns to shit. I'd say 50% it's the replacement flex I put in, 50% it's the dock flex. Because the battery did come in very inflated. It was pushing the screen off. Anyway. Okay, so we've got our magnetic plate. We've got our decent magnets. We've got little magnets in there. Let's see how we go for pasting this time. And it looks like Mr. Daniels has been bad and now used up both of his squeegees. Very naughty of you, Mr. Daniels. Very naughty. Fortunately, it's a backup phone for them, but it's still annoying. I'm more annoyed for myself now. Honestly, times like this, you just start looking for some old iPhone 6S you might have lying around. Swap the boards across and say, here you go. Enjoy. I've got no intention of, it was only going to rot anyway, so it's all yours. I'm a bit like that with MacBooks now. So I can get a MacBook come in and say like, oh Mo, really buddy? Really? Why? You know I'm working. Ach, nee man. Hocham. Hocham. Ach. Tend to the animals. Hey Loki. He's on the air conditioner. Ugh. Milo, why are you up there? Yeah? What are you doing? What? And it's... There you go, come on. Yeah. Come on. What? You need me to back up more? Come on. You gonna jump on? No. I can't look up now. Because you're probably going to jump down just to turn around. Oh. What? You're going to come down? Oh, come on. Hey, come on. You want to come down? Why not? Yeah? You're scared because the air conditioner's running. Well, you shouldn't have got up there. Well, I know. Come on, buddy. You want to come down? You want to jump down? A bit repetitive. Yeah. Milo. Jump. You can't keep saying no. Come on then. Okay. No. Oh, I'll go get the ladder. Crud. Hey? You could have hurt yourself. I was there waiting for him to jump on my back, and you're just like going, no!
Another thing on the list for you to do, put a shelf.
Yeah, a launch shelf so you can safely get up and down.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to give him something, or...
I don't know what he wants though. He's in the mood. Maybe he just needs to play. What's this?
No rest. JCT, it's only been 25 years since I was in South Africa, so I'm getting rusty. I don't even have any South African people to talk to now. It's probably a good thing. Hey, Mr. Hal. May doze off any minute. Bank holiday. Oh, really? It's a holiday in the UK, you lucky bastards. Not that holidays matter here. Oh, speaking of which, some of you are already aware of this, but the dreaded event has occurred here in town. A phone store has opened up, and naturally, of course, they're offering screen repairs, battery, all the sort of stuff. All the sort of stuff that basically is my bread and butter. And they're in a very good location in town. So yeah, it finally happened. But I kind of feel a little bit like Denethor, where it's like I told it was going to happen, and what have I done? But I guess I've been trying to get things geared up and everything like that, but it just didn't happen quick enough. So anyway, they're in town now. Flashy place, good location. It's definitely going to impact the bottom line. Anyway, here we go. There's going to be a bit of crossover there, but it's okay. The trouble is, B-Blood, I don't really necessarily want those store bag stuffed it up type jobs, because the people are usually broke because they've already spent all the money at the store, and the problems are usually complicated and I can't charge accordingly. So it's very much a lose-lose situation with those scenarios, unfortunately. And half the time, because you don't get a win, the customers are like upset with you as well. It's like, brilliant. Anyway, so I've started a fairly strong Facebook advertising campaign. Yeah, there's a bit of a limit on what you can do. I think the most annoying thing, though, is when I look at the comments on their page from locals, and they're like, finally, the service, we don't have to go to Townsville for this sort of thing. I'm like, you always had the service here, which is a reflection on my lack of appropriate advertising. It's a small town, but 5,000 people don't automatically all know each other or know what's available. And while 10 years ago, well, let's say 5 years ago, everybody knew me for this sort of work, but there's plenty of new people that have come to town and they aren't aware of the fact that I do the work. So anyway, back to the marketing, I suppose. The other problem, well, the other thing that I'm fearing is their pricing structure. Now, the last time a mob came to town to do this sort of work, I gotta admit, I gotta give them props. They stuck with about the same sort of pricing structure as what I have. And so we didn't have to endure the whole, why are they so much cheaper than what you are kind of business. And I mean, you can explain it, but it's annoying. And at the end of the day, whether it's a better value or not, people will generally go for the cheapest option, generally speaking, because in their mind, they don't quite understand why there's a difference in the first place. So as far as they're concerned, your JK incel screens at $20 a piece are no different to the soft OLED screens at $60 a piece. So yeah, it gets a little bit tricky when that sort of thing has to come up. anyway, that was a very nice piece of 430 stainless steel. Does the job quite well. And I think it's about 1.2 mil thick or something like that. So it doesn't flex, not much. Welcome, Ascenso, sorry. Alrighty, let's get this beast sorted out. I kind of feel like it needs to be closer. Like, yay. Well, Antonio, I mean, obviously that's true, but like I said, the problem is not. The problem is making people understand that there is a variation in quality, which is why there's a variation in price, as well as also the after-sales service and the service itself and all that kind of thing. But like I said, people will almost always have an optimistic perception of how things are going to go. So in their mind, they will think, well, I'm going to go for the $80 replacement and then the $150 replacement because I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine. Even if you confronted them rationally, do you think that's going to be the case? They'll be like, oh no, I sort of expect there's going to be some issue. Yeah, it's going to be a difference. But when it comes to the dollar, and particularly at the moment, the cost of living crisis, as they call it, is really starting to bite. Everybody's jacking up prices for food, particularly for food. I'm noticing it. We used to get boxes of 30 cat food cans for, it was about $29. So let's call it $1 a can. Now they're up to like $55 and things like that. It's just ridiculous. And every time you think, okay, all right, they're going to settle down, the price just gets jacked up again later. So you're dealing with a very volatile market, a very hot inflation market, as it were. And unfortunately, the government does seem to enjoy using the interest rates as their blunt tool, but ultimately it tends to hurt the people who can probably least afford it, so to speak. Hey Graham, good to see you. I didn't really get to see your stream the other night, I'm sorry, I sort of crashed out, but I mean, to be fair, they start late for me. McDonald's versus the Aussie Steakhouse. Yeah, well, is it McDonald's reported that their sales have actually gone down for the first time in a long time? Other than all this profits, whatever. Unacceptable? Yeah. Oh no, we definitely weren't friends. We're associates. That's how you get away with it. For as long as you've got Caradog there, we're going to remain associates. And Caradog's like, what the? I just like to throw a curveball every now and then. Where am I putting this one? Oh yeah, there. Well, Antonio, unfortunately, that's great that you do your research. It's just that it's not a normal thing, really. The bulk of sales tend to be what's flashy and cheap, which is why a lot of MacBooks and similar repairs end up at very dodgy places before they end up here. I am working on that as well. I'm sort of trying to add a bit of bling bling to my website, and I've ordered banners and things like that from Vistaprint. So, you know, I'm doing what I really hate doing, which is intentional advertising, as it were. But I don't see an option otherwise. I feel like it's just the way it is. I've got to get a little louder with what I do. It used to be fine when it was, you know, the market was fine and word of mouth was an excellent resource and it worked very well. But yeah, it's come to the time now where you got to be loud. Loud and obnoxious. Your site needs to be ARGB. Yeah, put some alpha into it. Transparency. There's a really big neat thing back in the late 90s when Apple came out with their Aqua styling. Everybody was like, oh man, we've got to copy that. You know, the transparency and rounding and all that sort of stuff. And it was a very effective style. Looks dated now, but it was pretty awesome back then. Oh, so Graham, how much work would it be to add a milliwatt hour, milliamp hour? Oh, I mean, yeah, that's comparatively trivial, to be honest. The only reason why I didn't end up doing that is simply because the screen space. But yeah, I can add that. That's no problem. What I was going to do is start having all these options that are optional. At the moment, there is a ini file that it generates, so you can actually fine-tune the configuration. And so I'll just put it in there. Did I just hear Milo? Hey, Teresa. But yeah, Graham, adding things like that is not a problem. Because the data's already there, it's just a case of how do you want to process that data. Dirty capacitor, yeah, that really would be dirty actually. Normally for capacity testing, I prefer to use fuel gauge chips or Coulomb counters, and I do actually have those. I used to use them for my model aircraft when I was doing that sort of stuff, and so I'd have a fuel gauge. I think I've actually got a YouTube video from whenever it was, 2007 or something like that, when I was making them. And hilariously, they are using the same screens as what I'm using today, as in the same 8x2 reflective LCD. Nice thing is I was actually able to make it generate custom characters, and so you could have like the fuel gauge increasing. Yeah, it was all different things that I was able to do with that. It was a very entertaining project for me. I sold a good number of them, but not enough, I guess. Damn it, I don't know what chip that is. Okay, make sure we put the AVRs the right way up this time, hey? We don't want to go shorting out our system again. Certainly in terms of absolute accuracy, it's not going to be too great, simply because there's everything that happens between the two, between samples. That's also important, and you don't capture that. But at least it'll give you some sort of relative indication, I suppose, and that's probably what you're after. But it's not something that I would say, oh yeah, this battery has a capacity of 2500 milliamp hour. I'd say there's probably like plus or minus 10% in that easily. Okay. Ah, USB-C ports come flying out at me, threatening to drag themselves all over my board. Redo from start. What? Ah, vind ik klaar. I have no idea why I even dropped that. Oh yeah, the pain. Sorry, I've been with the fence work. It's been extremely labor intensive. There is a elevated level of pain during the evenings. That's okay. It's just the weakness in the body being cast out. Just got to keep doing it until the pain stops. Build my own custom pick and play. Oh no, thanks. This is certainly something that I would much rather pay and buy someone else's setup, knowing that they've eliminated at least some of the issues. I can guarantee you they won't have eliminated all the issues. There'll be quirks. JCT, are you translating for others? That is a really, really bodgy. Yeah, bit of offset there on the stencil. Oops. Bit of offset there on the settling down. Not doing a pick and place. I'd rather decode the XZZ PCB format, thank you very much. Nowhere near as fun as designing your own pick and place. But I think pick and place is something that, yeah, that's one wheel I don't want to reinvent. Even though I'm incredibly shocking at this. You gotta love the power of surface tension there. Okay, good. I hope I got these right. These damned LEDs. So 2 to me, 2 to me, 2 to me, 2 to me. Wow. Yeah, Paul, that's really not a good place to put the 300 ohms. There's a hair on there. It's not even hair, it's carpet fluff. That's synthetic, that is. I think we can rock and roll with this. Pick and chuck. Chuck and chew. Yeah. Sort fun. Sort fun. Is that what you want me to say? Sort fun. Because people are going, but there's a V there. Why is he saying the F? Alright, I'm just going to turn the air conditioner off. There's no point having, 2 kilowatt being consumed by the air conditioner while I'm also running this. I haven't used this new hot plate all that many times. I think this is probably only the 3rd time. As you can see, it's still in pretty pristine condition. It does the job. The nice thing is, at least it takes longer to warm up, so the reflow curve, at least the first time around, is not too bad. Whereas that smaller 100 by 100 one, that would ramp up a little bit too quick. No handshake band marks yet. Hey, Christensen. Funnily enough, my wife was actually, when she was younger, start of our marriage, she, for some reason, had a predisposition to burning herself a lot with things like on the stove top and things like that. So thankfully she's gotten out of that habit, because it was a very distressing habit. This is getting, I think I've got it set for 215 or something like that. Looks the right size for quarter pounders. You could fit 4 quarter pounders on that. Can you bry on it? But you could probably put a poiky on it. Not so sure about a bry. Tell you what I do miss is good pup sauce. I don't know what it was about the pup sauce that would be served up, or people would bring around to winter bries, but I love that stuff. That, and getting a little bit too hefty into the what was it? Hunter's apple cider. Oh man, which is really bad, because I haven't drank basically for 24 years now. But when I see Graham and Caradog getting into the cider, I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I'd like crack open a can of icy cold Hunters. But these days, if I try something like a can of cider or something like that, brewed cider, it'll make me feel funny, really weird. I do not like it at all. So I'm happy with the non-alcoholic ones, but the alcoholic ones, I'm like. And when I say I haven't drank in 23 years, what I mean, I just don't get a bottle of wine or anything like that. But every now and then I might opportunity pops up, I might take a sip of cider or whatever. That's about the last thing I had. And within 2 or 3 sips, I'm like, yeah, no, can't handle it. How dare you, JCT? There is nothing wrong with ciders. How dare you? You take that back. Hunter's is a perfectly good option. What do you prefer, Windhoek? Tell you what, it was very strange going over and working in Namibia. Yeah, Windhoek was pretty interesting, but Swakopmund was really... That was something really spectacular for me, going out to Swakopmund. A long drive across the Namibian desert, but it was worth it. And then, yeah, you're just going over those sand dunes, and all of a sudden you've got the Atlantic Ocean right there. Oops. And the fact that if they don't sweep that city every day, it'll just get eaten by the sand dunes. Hey, Monsieur. There are a lot of things that I loved in South Africa in terms of food that I just can't get a good replacement for here in Australia. It's definitely not what I expected to be my cherished memories from South Africa. Was the food. It's just far out. Yeah, it was just something about the food culture, the diversity of it and all that sort of stuff. Australia likes to go on about its cultural diversity. Well, I mean, we do. We've got a tremendous degree of diversity in terms... Oh, man, I got a bad breath then. But in terms of food, just every day, it doesn't seem to be there like it was in South Africa for me. Like, I mean, I have everything from French to, well, just everything. Just wait for that to cool off a bit. Beer and cider is all about finding the craft stuff. You trying to say that you're better than the rest of us? I knew it, JCT. I knew you'd be a Windhoek person. My boss loved that stuff. And I gotta admit, of all the beers, I'm not really a beer person. Of all the beers, that was actually a very nice beer. Hey, Microsoft Line, welcome. Alright, I think we can pick this up now. Just don't touch the hop side. It's kind of like when motorbike riding. It's like, keep the shiny side up. When you don't keep the shiny side up, it's unpleasant. Yeah, Swakopmund, it's very nice. I love it in the morning when the fog comes over, and so yeah, you're driving out, heading back into the damn desert. It is a very nice place to be. Yeah. I didn't mind the game parks as well, like in the Pilanesberg, Bakabung and Kwamartani, Sun City, of course. I enjoyed those. They were a little bit more work for me than they were pleasure, as it were. Oh, nice job. Yeah, someone didn't quite learn how to park. Well, overall, the reflow feels a lot better. That's slightly offset, but it's not worth fixing that. That's fine as it is. Hey, Zippy the Beast. Sure, that's why you guys are good rugby players? I thought you were just used to blitzing the hell out of people. You guys can get pretty scary at times. Okay, we've got a bridge there. And that pin over there doesn't quite... It has got solder on it, but it needs some help. Oh wow, another diverger. Alright, that's interesting. They're all spinning around today. Okay, not a problem. No, that's way too much. This is not a Rossmann funded stream. Damn. Yeah, Roy, I was not a fan of it myself. I did it in 7th year of primary school, just simply because, oh no, 6th year actually, I was like 45 kilo class or something, and I hated it. But of course, you know, you do these sort of things sometimes because of your parents, your father or something like that, certain expectations, and I ended up being a better hockey player, like grass hockey player. I wanted to be good at cricket, but I just didn't seem to have the talent enough. I guess because all the kids played cricket. Come on, why aren't you sticking down there? JCT, does it still have the heart tick on it? 'Cause I remember that being a big thing. It was like, even the Heart Foundation approves. Hey, I've got a ping pong. What's going on here? Just Joey abandoning us. How dare you abandon us, Joey? We support you in your streams, and this is how you reward us? Boycott Joey. That or he... No, I'm not going to do the... I could call for something for him to do, but I can't make myself do that to him. Left, right, out playing cricket, that's the one, yep. Yeah, sad. And it's rather crushing when it happens to you because, yeah, there's a kid in the 80s growing up in Australia. Yeah, cricket was a big thing. And then, so, yeah, and you play in the backyard and you think you're not too bad. You can really spin that tennis ball and have some wickets. In reality, it's just because you've got an uneven pitch dug out of the ground and your tennis ball just happened to hit a rock. Nothing to do with the fact that it was spinning. But yeah, and then you don't even get selected for anything, and you're like, man, I'm crushed. That's how I felt. Yeah, that's reality. And turns out I was better at long distance running, squash, javelin of all things. I don't know why I was good at javelin, but I really was. And especially considering I got chicken stick arms. Anyway, yeah, sometimes life just slaps you and sends you off into a different direction. You weren't allowed to play rugby because you're a girl. No, it's back in the old days. Do they allow it now? So we also had Aussie rules. I thought I was pretty good at Aussie rules. I kicked the living daylights out of the ball in the direction you wanted. But again, didn't get selected. So, so instead I just became white and nerdy and hang out in the computer room. Oh, Shane Warne, yeah, with his flipper deliveries and stuff like that. Okay. I need my glasses to make sure I get the orientation right. Because there's no physical keying on my work, I'm very do or die. Get flashed. Whoa, that was in backwards and that's still ignited. See what I mean? Do or die. Tolerated it. I suppose it kind of helps that it's a fairly low amount of power that this thing puts through. Okay, it all flashed. So given the time, I'm just going to connect the LCD up, verify that they boot, and then we'll leave it at that. Because I've still got plenty of things I've got to get sorted out before I go to sleep. Things like reprogramming the on-screen display because Graham's getting all pushy about making sure it has other features. Graham's like, what? Okay, it's good. $50 backlight into SDA. That would always be entertaining. Glad we don't have the old LCDs anymore. With the whoa dead end there. Graham cursed it. Good on you, Graham. Alright, what the hell's going on? That's 2 now. Did I turn the cap around on the other one? I don't think... There were 2 caps that weren't... that were rotated wrong. Okay, that one's good. I know I fixed one, but did I fix the other? Yes, the AVR is correctly installed. I mean, they're not perfectly central, but they are on. That's the correct orientation. There's only 3 devices on the bus, and it's that, and that. I'm not quite sure why that wouldn't fire off. I'll try it again. Maybe I just didn't install it properly. Okay. No, that's definitely bogus there. This one must have the other cap that's not on there. I can feel the air conditioner isn't running. Am I losing my mind? What happened to that other one? Where there was a... Yeah, okay, so this one... Alright, so that wasn't critical because that's actually just decoupling, local decoupling for the AT Tiny. But the rail itself already has plenty of other decoupling. So that's why it hasn't been messed up. So this is what I'm talking about when I say when you design things, you really just throw 100 nanofarad caps everywhere. Because they're so cheap. Oh, okay, I can see why. How did you guys miss that? You call yourselves backseat technicians, quality controllers. You guys suck. And girls. That's why that one's not going. Sokolov, believe me, the silk screenings is as much for me as it is anyone else. Okay, that's better. That's good. Okay, so we've got this last one that's not playing ball yet. We need printer QC stickers here. Oh, interesting. That just flashed for a second. And then quit. So I wonder if I've got a timing issue. No. Okay. It momentarily came up, so we... wonder what it is. Maybe... it should have nothing to do with this. Because this is only once we start querying data. These here are they're the pull-ups for the I2C. That looks fine there. That looks fine too. That's fine. Okay, maybe it's this still. That's the ground pin. It could be a bad ZIF connector too, yeah. No, I wouldn't actually call that a ZIF connector because it sure as hell isn't zero with its insertion force. Could be flux in the actual ZIF, yeah. Although, I'd be surprised. No, that looks... yeah, that middle pin there looks a little imperfect. But I'd imagine it should still contact. And that's a ground pin in this case. The alignment's fine. Hey, welcome back, Mr. Bodger. So locking that one in. No. It might have just been the USB, although the light didn't flicker. Or did it? Did the light go out before when it wasn't displaying? That will be the determining factor. If the light was not illuminated before, then it was the ground pin. If it was, then it was the zip socket. No light before, so it was the ground pin of the USB. Alright. We're all solved. So these are going to have to go into the ultrasonic cleaner. Another 4. I find it nice to just do 4 at a time rather than say 10 or 20 or something like that. It's something I can knock out in a couple of hours, 2 hours usually. And if you've got an issue with one of the components or something like that, then you've only got 4 to rework, as it were. So yeah. Anyway, well, the stenciling, the magnetic stencil thing, I'm pretty happy with that. It does do the job. I might buff down this. It's a little bit too shiny for me. It actually makes it difficult to see where the magnets are sometimes. I'm sure I'll refine it over time, and I'll probably start changing the way my stencils in terms of size are printed. Yeah. I've got these little 3mm ones. They do indeed fit into these holes, so that's good too. Lid was on. No light flickers before. Wait. Oh, blimey hell. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go out of here and I'm going to do Graham's dirty work. Because it's a reasonable feature to ask for, I must admit, Graham, but you know, we might have to come up with a deal on. I think you should reimburse me somehow for the hard work that I'll have to endure. Make a frame for the stencils. Yeah, I can do that. Obviously, this magnetic one allows me to move things around, so it sort of does the job for the moment. Over time, things will get refined. This is kind of like prototype 1A. Yeah. Alright, I'm out here. Thank you all for watching and tolerating my awful Afrikaans and everything else. And I might see you next time. Till then, you all take care. I'll see you later.